Imagine packing a small bag and spending the weekend in low Earth orbit. No need to book months in advance or save thousands. You just show up to the spaceport and board your rocket. If you love deep dives into impossible scenarios, subscribe and hit the bell. We explore the unbelievable Monday through Saturday. You could be sipping zero-G cocktails while watching the sunrise over the entire planet. Sounds crazy, right? Well, thanks to Elon Musk's Starship and Blue Origin's New Glenn, this may not be impossible for much longer. These are reusable launch systems capable of bringing down the price of access to space, potentially making space travel an everyday adventure. But what if we take this one step further and imagine a world where going to space becomes as easy and as cheap as taking a flight to Paris? How would humanity change? First, let's face the obvious. The experience of visiting space is profoundly humbling. It inspires awe and wonder at our planet's fragility, beauty, and smallness in the grand scheme of the universe. This perspective is often called the overview effect, and it's been described by many astronauts as life-changing. If affordable space travel became a thing, millions of people would experience this firsthand. We can only hope that this would inspire a collective awakening about how precious our planet is and spur global action on climate change and environmental protection. But let's be honest, most of us don't think like that when booking a flight. We're more concerned about whether the plane has Wi-Fi and how much the checked bag fee is. In a world of cheap flights, we already know how this would go. Space would become a playground for selfies, Instagram accounts, flexing wealth, and hashtagging is blessed with every orbit. It'd be like a less developed version of Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, except instead of candy, we'd have weightlessness, and instead of Oompa Loompas, we'd have moon buggy rides. So yeah, probably wouldn't change humanity for the better. Most of us would simply make the world a little smaller by projecting ourselves onto another screen. But let's be a little more optimistic. What good could come from cheap space travel? Let's start with the obvious: jobs. The space industry creates lucrative opportunities in manufacturing, engineering, and research. When travel became cheap, it sparked unprecedented growth. New hotels, restaurants, and attractions sprung up around the world, creating countless jobs and economic opportunities. The same would happen in space. Imagine the construction jobs building space hotels, or the catering gigs serving microgravity meals. There'd be so many new opportunities for entrepreneurship, too. The sky really is the limit. Wait, literally. You could open a zero-G yoga studio, an asteroid mining company, or a lunar landscape design firm. Anything goes when it comes to business in space. But here's something else to consider. People tend to innovate when they're free from the constraints of convention. When pioneers first headed west, they weren't constrained by the development patterns of the East Coast. They built new towns and farms with different needs in mind. That's why cities like Sacramento, San Francisco, and Los Angeles all developed their own unique identities. In a similar way, space pioneers would develop new technologies and industries unconstrained by Earth's gravity. Just imagine all the ways that physics-defying living and working could inspire innovation. But wait, let's zoom out a bit. All this talk of space travel makes us wonder, what if we took it to the next level? What if we made it possible for anyone to visit other planets like Mars, or even venture further to distant moons and asteroids? How would this shape humanity? Let's take a trip to the red planet first. We know that Mars has no atmosphere to speak of, so you'd need a pressurized suit to survive. But imagine strolling across the rusty landscape, feeling the crunch of red sand beneath your boots. Maybe you'd even spot some wildlife, maybe microbial life, or even dinosaurs. Okay, probably not dinosaurs, but definitely microbes. Or how about venturing even farther to Saturn's moon Titan? It has lakes of liquid methane and ethane, and an atmosphere with a similar composition to Earth's early atmosphere. It's the only place in the solar system besides Earth where rain, rivers, and lakes could exist, and there might even be signs of prebiotic chemistry happening there naturally. Okay, now let's talk about the nitty-gritty. What would it actually take to make space travel accessible to everyone? To bring down the cost of space travel, we need two key ingredients: Cheap transportation and cheap accommodation. Let's tackle transportation first. Reusable rockets like SpaceX's Starship and Blue Origin's New Glenn are designed to do just that. They aim to reduce the cost per launch by up to 10 times compared to traditional rockets. That means more frequent launches and hopefully lower prices. But that's just the beginning. To make space travel truly affordable, we need to rethink our approach to manufacturing and logistics. Think about it. Every time a rocket takes off, it carries tons of equipment, life support systems, and supplies for astronauts. Wouldn't it be easier and cheaper to send these items separately in bulk carriers? With larger cargo ships, we could send more supplies at once, reducing overall costs and increasing reliability. Plus, imagine specialized spaceports dedicated to servicing spacecraft in orbit. It'd be like a pit stop in Formula One, but for space travel. These stations could refuel, repair, and resupply spacecraft without having to return to Earth. Talk about efficiency. Now let's discuss accommodations. Building a hotel in space is no easy feat. After all, you can't just slap up a few walls and call it a day. You need to consider things like radiation, debris, and microgravity. But it's not impossible. With innovative engineering and smart design, we could create comfortable, safe havens in orbit. One idea is to build modular space hotels. These hotels could be constructed in sections on Earth and then assembled in orbit. It'd be like Legos for adults, but with much higher stakes. Another option is to use inflatable modules that can be expanded in space. This could create surprisingly spacious accommodations without adding too much mass to a spacecraft. Imagine waking up in a tiny room and then boom, suddenly you have more space than you could ever dream of. And let's not forget the views. Imagine waking up to the Earth rising over the horizon, watching the sun set over the curvature of space, or witnessing a meteor shower from the comfort of your own hotel room. The views from a space hotel would be absolutely priceless. But let's dive deeper into this space hotel idea because it opens up a whole new can of worms. What would life inside one of these hotels be like? Well, for starters, there'd be no more room service, at least not in the traditional sense. Instead, you'd have to get used to floating around your room to grab your own food and drinks. No more Netflix and chill, but maybe some zero-G yoga and chill. On a serious note, though, microgravity can have significant effects on the human body. Our muscles and bones lose mass and our immune system weakens. So space hotels would likely need to offer plenty of exercise and health monitoring to keep guests safe. Imagine a hotel gym with equipment designed specifically for microgravity workouts. It'd be a workout like no other. But what about entertainment? Watching TV would be a challenge since you're constantly changing channels by floating around the room. Hotels might offer virtual reality experiences that simulate Earth's gravity for a more immersive experience. Imagine a VR roller coaster ride, but without the upside-down parts. We'd need some major innovation to keep guests entertained while ensuring their safety. If we can figure that out, space hotels could become a major hub for relaxation and recreation. But let's be honest, the real magic of space travel is the journey itself. The moment you blast off from Earth and feel the pull of gravity disappearing beneath you, you're in for an experience like no other. Sure, space hotels could offer plenty of fun, but nothing beats that initial thrill of soaring into the unknown. It's this magic that drives so many people to seek out space travel. And if we can harness that excitement in a safe and responsible way, well, anything's possible. But here's the big question. Should we? Is opening up space travel to everyone really a good idea? Or are we just treading into dangerous territory? Sure, it'd be amazing to see more people experience the wonders of space, but what happens when millions head to orbit? What happens when accidents occur, or when orbital debris collides? Could space tourism trigger a catastrophe that impacts the entire planet? It's a sobering thought that gives us pause. What do you think? Should we strive to make space travel accessible to everyone? Or are we better off keeping it exclusive to the elite few? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more thrilling space adventures. And until next time, keep looking up. The stars are closer than you think. But before you go, check out this video that YouTube thinks you'll like. Hit that like button if you love deep dives into impossible scenarios. Subscribe and hit the bell for more. And remember, the best is yet to come.